Vayak'hel-Pekudei. First reading, Abraham, CHESED. Moses assembled the whole Israelite community and said to them, "These are the things the Lord has commanded to do. For 6 days work is to be done, but the seventh day shall be your holy day, a Sabbath of rest to the Lord. Whoever does any work on it will die. Do not light a fire in any of your dwellings on the Sabbath day." Moses said to the whole Israelite community, "This is what the Lord has commanded. Take from what you have a contribution for the Lord. Everyone who is willing is to bring to the Lord an offering of gold, silver, and bronze, blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and fine linen, goat hair, ram skins dyed red, and sealskins, acacia wood, olive oil for the light, spices for the anointing oil and for the fragrant incense, and onyx stones and other gems for the ephod and breastplate. All who are skilled among you are to come and make everything the Lord has commanded: the tabernacle with its tent and its covering, clasps, frames, crossbars, pillars, and sockets, the ark with its poles, and the atonement cover and the curtain that shields it, the table with its poles, and all its articles, and the bread of the presence, the candelabra that is for light with its accessories, lamps and oil for the light, the altar of incense with its poles, the anointing oil and the fragrant incense, the curtain for the doorway at the entrance to the tabernacle, the altar of burnt offering with its bronze grating, its poles and all its utensils, the bronze basin with its stand, the curtains of the courtyard with its pillars and sockets, and the curtain for the entrance to the courtyard, the tent pegs for the tabernacle, and the tent pegs for the courtyard and their ropes, the woven garments worn for ministering in the sanctuary, both the sacred garments for Aaron the priest, and the garments for his sons when they serve as priests." Then the whole Israelite community withdrew from Moses' presence. Vayak'hel-Pekudei. Second reading, Isaac, GEVURAH. Then Moses said to the Israelites, "See, the Lord has chosen Bezalel, son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Yehudah. And he has filled him with the Spirit of God, with skill, ability, and knowledge in all kinds of crafts, to make designs for work in gold, silver, and bronze, to cut and set stones, to work in wood, and to engage in all kinds of artistic craftsmanship. And he has given both him and Oholiab, son of Achisamach, of the tribe of Dan, the ability to teach others. He has filled them with skill to do all kinds of work as craftsmen, designers, embroiderers in blue, purple, and scarlet yarn and fine linen, and weavers, all of them master craftsmen and designers. So Bezalel, Oholiab, and every skilled person to whom the Lord has given skill and ability to know how to carry out all the work of constructing the sanctuary are to do the work just as the Lord has commanded. Then Moses summoned Bezalel and Oholiab, and every skilled person to whom the Lord had given ability and who was willing to come and do the work. They took from Moses all the offerings the Israelites had brought to carry out the work of constructing the sanctuary, and the people continued to bring free will offerings morning after morning. So all the skilled craftsmen who were doing all the work on the sanctuary left their work and said to Moses, "The people are bringing more than enough for doing the work the Lord commanded to be done." Then Moses gave an order, and they sent this word throughout the camp: "No man or woman is to make anything else as an offering for the sanctuary." And so the people were restrained from bringing more, because what they already had was more than enough to do all the work. Vayak'hel-Pekudei. Third reading, Jacob, TIFERET. He made the candelabra, of pure gold and hammered it out, base and shaft. Its flower-like cups, buds, and blossoms were of one piece with it. 6 branches extended from its sides, 3 branches of the candelabra on one side, and 3 branches of the candelabra on the other. 3 cups shaped like almond flowers with buds and blossoms were on one branch. 3 cups shaped like almond flowers with buds and blossoms on the next branch, and the same for all 6 branches extending from the candelabra. And on the candelabra were 4 cups shaped like almond flowers with buds and blossoms. 1 bud was under the first pair of branches extending from it, a second bud under the second pair of branches extending from it, and a third bud under the third pair of branches extending from it. 6 branches in all. The buds and the branches were all of one piece with it, hammered out of pure gold. He made its 7 lamps, as well as its wick trimmers and trays of pure gold. He made the candelabra and all its accessories from 1 talent of pure gold. He made the altar of incense out of acacia wood. It was square, a cubit long and a cubit wide, and 2 cubits high. Its horns of one piece with it. He overlaid it with pure gold, the top and all the sides and the horns, and made a gold molding around it. He made 2 gold rings below the molding on its 2 sides, 2 on opposite sides, to house the poles used to carry it. He made the poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with gold. He also made the sacred anointing oil and the pure, fragrant incense, the work of a perfumer. Vayak'hel-Pekudei. 4th reading, Moses, NETZACH. He built the altar of burnt offering of acacia wood, 5 cubits long and 5 cubits wide. It was square, 3 cubits high. He made a horn at each of the 4 corners, so that the horns and the altar were of one piece, and they overlaid the altar with bronze. He made all its utensils, its pots, shovels, sprinkling bowls, meat forks, and fire pans, of bronze. He made a grating for the altar, a bronze network, to be under its ledge, halfway up the altar. He cast 4 bronze rings to hold the poles for the 4 corners of the bronze grating. He made the poles of acacia wood, and overlaid them with bronze. He inserted the poles into the rings so they would be on the sides of the altar for carrying it. He made it hollow out of boards. They made the basin out of bronze, and its stand out of bronze, from the mirrors of the women who served at the entrance to the tent of meeting. He made the courtyard. The south side had curtains of finely twisted linen, and was 100 cubits long, and had 20 pillars and 20 bronze sockets, and with silver hooks and bands on the posts. The north side was 100 cubits long, and had 20 pillars and 20 bronze sockets, with silver hooks and bands on the pillars. The west end was 50 cubits wide, and had curtains, with 10 pillars and 10 sockets, with silver hooks and sockets on the pillars. The east end, toward the sunrise, was 50 cubits wide. Curtains 15 cubits long were on one side of the entrance, with 3 pillars and 3 sockets, and curtains 15 cubits long were on the other side of the entrance to the courtyard, with 3 pillars and 3 sockets. All the curtains around the courtyard were of finely twisted linen. The bases for the pillars were bronze. The hooks and bands on the pillars were silver, and their tops were overlaid with silver. So all the pillars of the courtyard had silver bands. Vayak'hel-Pekudei. 5th reading, Aaron, Hod. He made the ephod of gold and of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and of finely twisted linen. They hammered out thin sheets of gold, and cut strands to be worked into the blue, purple, and scarlet yarn and fine linen, the work of a skilled craftsman. They made shoulder pieces for it, which were attached to two of its corners, so it could be fastened. Its skillfully woven waistband was like it, of one piece with the ephod, and made with gold, and with blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and with finely twisted linen, as the Lord commanded Moses. They mounted the onyx stones in gold filigree settings, and engraved them like a seal with the names of the sons of Israel. Then he fastened them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod, as memorial stones for the sons of Israel, as the Lord commanded Moses. He fashioned the breastplate, the work of a skilled craftsman. They made it like the ephod, of gold, and of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and of finely twisted linen. It was square, a span long and a span wide, and folded double. Then they mounted 4 rows of precious stones on it. In the first row there was a ruby, a topaz, and a beryl. In the second row a turquoise, a sapphire, and an emerald. In the third row a jacinth, an agate, and an amethyst. In the fourth row a chrysolite, an onyx, and a jasper. They were mounted in gold settings. There were 12 stones, one for each of the names of the sons of Israel, each engraved like a seal with the name of one of the 12 tribes. For the breastplate they made thickly braided chains of pure gold. They made 2 gold settings and 2 gold rings, and fastened the rings to 2 of the corners of the breastplate. They fastened the 2 gold chains to the rings at the corners of the breastplate, and the other ends of the chains to the 2 settings, attaching them to the shoulder pieces of the ephod at the front. They made 2 gold rings and attached them to the other 2 corners of the breastplate on the inside edge next to the ephod. Then they made 2 gold rings and attached them to the bottom of the shoulder pieces on the front of the ephod, close to the seam, just above the waistband of the ephod. They tied the rings of the breastplate to the rings of the ephod with blue cord, connecting it to the waistband so that the breastplate would not swing out from the ephod, as the Lord commanded Moses. Vayak'hel-Pekudei. 6th reading, Joseph, YESOD. He made the robe of the ephod entirely of blue cloth, the work of a weaver. The opening in the center of the robe was like the opening of a collar, and a band around this opening, so that it would not tear. They made pomegranates of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, and finely twisted linen around the hem of the robe. And they made bells of pure gold between the pomegranates, and attached them around the hem between the pomegranates. A bell and a pomegranate, a bell and a pomegranate, around the hem of the robe to be worn for ministering, as the Lord commanded Moses. They made tunics of fine linen, the work of a weaver, for Aaron and his sons, and the turban of fine linen, the linen headbands and the undergarments of finely twisted linen. The sash was of finely twisted linen and blue, purple, and scarlet yarn, the work of an embroiderer, as the Lord commanded Moses. They made the plate, the sacred diadem, out of pure gold, and engraved on it, like an inscription on a seal, "Holy to the Lord." Then they fastened a blue cord to it to attach it to the turban, as the Lord commanded Moses. So all the work on the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, was completed. The Israelites did everything just as the Lord commanded Moses. Vayak'hel-Pekudei. 7th reading, David, MALCHUT. Then the Lord said to Moses, "On the 1st day of the 1st month, set up the tabernacle, the tent of meeting. Place the ark of the covenant in it, and shield the ark with the curtain. Bring in the table and set out what belongs on it. Then bring in the candelabra and set up its lamps. Place the gold altar of incense in front of the ark of the covenant, and put the curtain at the entrance to the tabernacle. Place the altar of burnt offering in front of the entrance to the tabernacle, the tent of meeting. Place the basin between the tent of meeting and the altar and put water in it. Set up the courtyard around it, and put the curtain at the entrance to the courtyard. Take the anointing oil and anoint the tabernacle and everything in it. Consecrate it and all its furnishings, and it will be holy. Then anoint the altar of burnt offering and all its utensils. Consecrate the altar, and it will be most holy. Anoint the basin and its stand, and consecrate them. Bring Aaron and his sons to the entrance of the tent of meeting, and wash them with water. Then dress Aaron in the sacred garments. Anoint him and consecrate him, so he may serve me as priest. Bring his sons and dress them in tunics. Anoint them just as you anointed their father, so they may serve me as priests. Their anointing will be to a priesthood that will continue for all generations to come. Moses did so. Everything the Lord commanded him, he did. Vayak'hel-Pekudei, maftir. Then the cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Moses could not enter the tent of meeting because the cloud had settled upon it, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. In all the travels of the Israelites, whenever the cloud lifted from above the tabernacle, they would set out. But if the cloud did not lift, they did not set out until the day it lifted. So the cloud of the Lord was over the tabernacle by day, and fire was in the cloud by night, in the sight of all the house of Israel during all their travels. Haftarah of Vayak'hel-Pekudei. 1 Kings 7:40-50. And Hiram also made the basins and shovels and sprinkling bowls. So Hiram finished all the work he had undertaken for King Solomon in the temple of the Lord, the 2 pillars, the 2 bowl-shaped capitals on top of the pillars, the 2 sets of network decorating the 2 bowl-shaped capitals on top of the pillars, the 400 pomegranates for the 2 sets of network, 2 rows of pomegranates for each network, decorating the bowl-shaped capitals on top of the pillars, the 10 stands with their 10 basins, the 1 sea and the 12 oxen under it, the pots, shovels, and sprinkling bowls. All these objects that Hiram made for King Solomon for the temple of the Lord were of burnished bronze. The king had them cast in clay molds in the plain of the Jordan between Sukkot and Tzartan. And Solomon left all these things unweighed, because there were so many. The weight of the bronze was not determined. Solomon also made all the furnishings that were in the Lord's temple: the golden altar, the golden table on which was the showbread, the menorahs of pure gold, 5 on the right and 5 on the left, in front of the inner sanctuary, the gold floral work and lamps and tongs, the pure gold basins, wick trimmers, sprinkling bowls, dishes, and censers, and the gold sockets for the doors of the innermost room, the Holy of Holies, and also for the doors of the main golden hall of the temple.